So now we've managed to download the Kali Linux ISO file, and we need to start installing that. So what we need to do is, in our VirtualBox environment, we need to start creating a new operating system, a virtual operating system within VirtualBox. So we go to New, and once I go to New, I need to create a name and operating system. So for here, I'll type in Kali, and Kali Linux runs on either a Debian or Ubuntu Linux system. So in the type, we need to select the appropriate options. Because it is based on a Debian or Ubuntu system, we need to make sure that we're very careful in selecting one of these operating systems. So to do that, we need to make sure that we select Ubuntu or Debian, and notice I've selected Linux. Under that version, I've got Ubuntu, but also we have a Debian option here, a 64-bit Debian. But for now, I want to go with a Ubuntu 64-bit option, and I can then simply click Next to go on to the next step. Here we have the option of selecting the memory size. Now, I can select as much as I want, but for this particular exercise, I want to select 1 GB RAM for this particular operating system. We have up to 8 GB on this machine, but 1 gig should be sufficient for Kali Linux. Let's go next. I have the option of selecting a hard disk here, so I'll create a virtual hard disk in this particular exercise because we don't want to create a physical hard disk right now. Just create a virtual one and let's see what happens. Now we have the VDI option, which is the virtual disk image. We have the VM disk option as well, which allows you to have a VMware type operating system. And if you want to go with a Microsoft Hyper-V, you can select this option here. But for now, we want to select the VDI option, and we can proceed to the next step. We want to either select a dynamic or fixed. I will choose dynamic. Now we need to allocate some hard disk space to the Kali Linux installation. It starts from about 4 GB or 8 GB, but we need to firstly save the new virtual hard disk file, and I want to save that in a directory called VirtualBox VMs. So I go to that particular directory, VirtualBox. Oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong section here. I need to go to VirtualBox VMs, and there is a Kali directory already there. So I go in there and I save this virtual hard disk file. Once that's saved, I can now allocate the appropriate space. So it's got 8 GB here. I'll change this to 20 to give it some space to use for files that are installed and any applications or any add-ons within the Kali Linux installation. And then I simply hit create, and that should create the system here. Notice now it's been created here on the left hand side. You'll see it's got 1 gig of RAM, Kali Ubuntu 64-bit operating system. It's now also has 20 GB of hard disk space. The next thing we need to do is install the ISO file that we've downloaded previously. To do that, we go to the storage. Notice there's a CD icon here. I can click on that, and I need to find the image file that we downloaded previously. Let me select that file, and you'll note I've got 2 installations here. I've got a 1.07 and a 2. So 1.07 was a previous release. For this one, we will use the 2. You most likely will have 2 as well. So I click on 2, and I have this refreshed. You'll notice that it's got the location file listed there. I want to go to System, and I want to select the processor from 1 to 2 processors. And then there's acceleration. I won't play around with this now. Under the execution cap, I want to leave that at 100% because Kali Linux is resource heavy, so you want to make sure it uses as much as possible. 100% is probably better to leave at that rate. It won't slow you down, don't worry, but just give it as much as one. Network, we'll use the NAT for now. Later on, we'll show you how to use another Ethernet cable and things like that. But for now, we click on OK, and that's been done.